Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and today I will be crafting with the Layered Fleur collection by Becca Fegan, and this one is the Lily set. So beautiful, beautiful flower. I think these are calla lilies. I am not 100% certain. I don't really know all of my flowers, but there are in the single set, there's actually two flower shapes. They're a little bit different in size, and I'm going to color up both of them. So I've already die cut out of white the two flowers, and all of the layers for each flower, it's on a single die plate, so it makes it super easy to die cut all of the layers out at the same time. I happen to die cut out of white, and I'm using my pastels to just add just a nice soft little wash of color to the center of these flowers. So this is the larger of the two, and as I was adding my pastels to that, I realized I forgot the stamen. I even die cut it and everything, and because that glue had already dried, I couldn't pop it in between the layers, so I just went ahead and snipped it off a little bit. And even though there was still plenty of time to put the stamen into this one, I actually kind of like snipping it off and just attaching it, butting up against these additional layers. And look at all of that embossed detail that you get as well. So I did the same for this one, where I just snipped off a little bit rather than having it tucked, adhered under those layers. That way all of the other layers are nice and level with each other, and the stamen still just kind of pops out. So in this collection, there's also several different sort of half-cut slimline borders, and these will perfectly cover a 3.5 by 8.5 slimline card. I've cut it, there's a solid outline die, and then there's the design die that cuts into your card. It doesn't have an outside or an inside cutting edge, the decorative die that is. And so what I've done is I've die cut twice out of iridescent mirror card with just the outline die. That mirror card has hints of purple, hints of red, and then I die cut twice the outline die plus the decorative die out of it's actually white specialty card, and it has a nice pattern to it, but you can still see a little bit of that pattern even though there is a lot of this is such a lacy decorative design. And what I'm doing here is stringing some invisible thread to the top and the bottom right in the center there. I've just used Scotch tape to tape these two halves together, and that is going to be my card front. And conveniently, there's already sort of that aperture that I will sort of suspend my lily flower between. And I took that outline die and I die cut it twice more out of just plain white cardstock. On this one here that I'm attaching that goes up against the fold of the card base, I trimmed about a 1/16 of an inch off of that so that it comes right up to the score line, but it doesn't cross over it. That way your card will still fold nice and flat. And then the other one I glued to the other half of the back. And those two pieces are they're optional, but they do clean up the back of the card, so it hides all of that Scotch tape that I used. Also, it makes the card front a little bit stronger as well, because you've got that extra layer. And that layer was just 65-pound cardstock, so it's not super heavyweight cardstock. The the back of the card is 120 pounds, so that's my standard sort of card base. And the specialty cards, I don't know their exact paperweight, but I'm guessing they are both that mirror card and the white specialty card that has all the lacy detail is probably, I would guess it's around 80 pounds. So you'll have a pretty sturdy card front, even though the card front is in two halves, basically. So even though I assembled two flowers, I think I'm only going to suspend one of them on that invisible thread, and this will basically create a spinner card. And I did die cut an extra flower out of just plain white cardstock, and that's so basically all of these die cuts, the stem, the leaves, the flower itself, I've die cut twice so that we can sandwich that invisible thread between these elements, and that way the flower is nice and sturdy. And the one thing to make sure of is that all of your elements do fit inside the aperture without touching the edges, because otherwise it won't spin. It'll just get caught up on the edge. And one of my leaves here was sticking out too much, so I cut it off. I tried to tear it off, but the glue had already dried already, and so I cut it off and use a smaller leaf. And what's great about this die set is that you do get leaves in two different sizes, and leaves that will go on the left and on the right of your stem. So lots of versatility, lots of ways to kind of build up your flowers. And so what I'm doing is positioning this so that I can make sure that the entire flower is within the aperture. That way I know it's going to spin. It's not going to hit the edges of the aperture. And now I'm going to adhere the second piece of the coordinating or matching pieces of the flower. That way it actually sandwiches where it overlaps with the invisible thread. It sandwiches that invisible thread, and that's what's going to keep it suspended and look as if it is suspended in midair. And once that has a chance to dry, you can open your card and see how it spins. But even just standing it up, it makes for an interesting look, because the flower is, if the flower looks like it's just magically hanging out there in midair. And to add to the drama, I decided to add a piece of black cardstock behind this. It just gives it a lot of contrast and again, drama, because I think that single flower just gives it a very dramatic look. And of course, here's the finished card. And then when you send this, you want to twist it in advance so that it's a little bit, it's already got, it's sort of loaded in a sense. That way when it's open, the flower will spin. So I hope that you enjoyed this card, and if you did, please consider liking, commenting, and sharing. And if you want to catch new videos as I post them, consider subscribing to my channel and ringing the notification bell. Thanks so much. Until next time, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye!